All right, strap yourselves in. You guys wanted the ultimate Elon Musk deep dive.
Oh, you
Yeah.
definitely delivered on the source material.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Walter Isaacson's biography
Yeah.
and that interview with Isaacson.
Right.
I mean, talk about a backstage pass to the Elon Musk show. This is it. We're going to figure out
Serious.
why he does what he does, how he gets it done,
Mm-hmm.
all those contradictions.
I mean, Isaacson had incredible access. 2 years shadowing Musk.
Unbelievable.
Seeing his daily life, witnessing how he makes those split-second decisions.
Unheard of.
It's so rare to get that kind of insight, especially with someone like Musk.
Okay, so today, get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew
Oh, yeah.
about Elon Musk.
Buckle up.
We're going to talk about the childhood that made him, the insane risk-taking, and the leadership style that's, well,
Intense.
magnetic and intense. Yeah, I
It's
like
just like
that.
looking at a high-powered engine. You admire all that power,
Right.
but you got to remember things can explode.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Isaacson paints this really vivid picture of Elon as a kid,
Yeah.
and you realize this kid was destined to be different.
Well, you know, it's funny how so many of these disruptors, these game changers, they often come from that misfit background.
Like it's their fuel.
Almost like being an outsider fuels them. Yeah.
And Elon's case, it was more than just like being the new kid.
Oh, for sure.
This is a scrawny kid, probably on the autism spectrum, bullied constantly.
Right.
And then you add on top of that this incredibly complex relationship with his father.
Yeah.
It's like this crucible that forged something.
It really is. And Musk actually says it himself. Like,
I know, I love that kind.
adversity shaped me.
Yeah.
It made me who I am.
Okay, but here's what I find really interesting.
Okay.
Isaacson ties that back to what Obama wrote about fathers.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how every successful man is either trying to live up to their dad.
Or live down their sins.
Exactly. But with Elon,
Feels like it's both.
it's both, right?
A double dose.
Yeah, and when you learn about Elon Musk, Elon's dad,
Oh, boy.
that guy, he's a whole other story. I mean,
Maybe
brilliant engineer.
capable of incredible things.
And opposites.
Yeah, those volatile shifts in personality.
Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh, my.
Which kind of makes you think about that whole demon mode.
Oh, right, Grind.
Demon, yeah.
One of Elon's partners.
Talks about that.
It's like you can't separate the darkness and the light with Elon Musk.
Totally.
They're intertwined.
They feed off each other.
Yeah, the intensity that drives him to achieve these crazy things. It's the same intensity that can lead to, well,
Yeah, those less than ideal moments.
let's call it that.
So, like, what if you stripped away all the darkness, all that edge? Would there even be an Elon Musk as we know him?
Ah, the age-old question. Can you have the genius?
Without the demon?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to think about.
Totally. Okay, let's shift gears for a sec. I want to talk about something a bit more concrete. Elon Musk's first principles thinking.
Ah,
People
Yeah.
throw that term around a lot, but
what does it actually mean?
yeah, in practice.
It's about stripping away all the assumptions, all the rules,
Okay.
and going back to the fundamentals.
So instead of saying,
This is how it's always been done.
you ask,
What are the basic truths here?
right?
What are the absolute essentials?
Almost like hitting reset on how you approach a problem.
Exactly. And one of the best examples is how Musk revolutionized rocket costs with SpaceX.
Oh, yeah.
The traditional aerospace industry, they just accepted certain rules about how rockets are built and how much they have to cost.
Like it was this super expensive, slow-moving industry.
Exactly. But Elon comes in and says, wait, what are the actual raw materials?
Yeah.
How much does it really cost to build a rocket if we strip away all the unnecessary stuff?
And what did he find?
The basic materials for a rocket
Yeah.
were a tiny fraction of what companies were charging. Yeah, so he focused on streamlining manufacturing, vertical integration, and just radical efficiency.
So bring the cost down.
Dramatically.
Okay, so that's fascinating for, like, business folks. But how does first principles apply to, like, me?
That's the beauty of it. It's a mental model for anyone.
Oh.
Are you accepting rules in your own life that might be wrong or outdated? What assumptions are holding you back?
Well, that's a good question to ask yourself.
It is.
Okay, so this mindset, it's also connected to the culture Elon creates at his companies.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all about speed, risk-taking.
Pushing limits?
Not a lot of room for that psychological safety stuff.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite of that feel-good environment.
that everyone's trying to create these days.
Right, it's more like controlled chaos.
Constant pressure cooker.
Isaacson tells this great story about Musk raiding a server farm on Christmas Eve.
I love that story.
Shows up with wire cutters.
A baffled security guard.
It's pure Hollywood, but
He shows the intensity.
yeah, the level he expects from his team.
I can't even imagine.
Isaacson suggests maybe 20% of people thrive in that environment.
And 80%.
Not so much.
Yeah.
And this kind of leads us to the Twitter takeover,
Okay.
which seemed like from the start maybe not the best fit for Elon's strengths.
Because Twitter...
It's a human problem, not just engineering.
Exactly.
And this is where Elon's personal life starts to intersect with his business decisions.
Okay.
So in recent years, we've seen this shift in his political views.
Yeah.
He's become much more critical of what he calls the woke mind virus.
And a big part of that.
Seems to be the pain of his daughter's transition
Yeah.
and her decision to distance herself from him.
Heartbreaking, honestly.
It is.
But it seems like it fueled this feeling in Elon that progressive ideology has gone too far.
Yeah, it adds a layer of complexity to his motivations for Twitter.
Right. Was it a calculated risk?
Or was it driven by this personal grievance?
A desire to push back against this ideology that he feels alienated him from his own daughter,
Almost like a distraction he needed.
even if it hurt his other companies.
It's a question Isaacson wrestles with throughout the book.
And it leads to a bigger theme.
Can Elon Musk even experience happiness?
Right. It's like he's wired for achievement, not contentment.
Like a video game addict, always chasing the next level?
Never savoring the win.
Isaacson draws this interesting contrast with Jeff Bezos,
Okay.
who seems much more comfortable enjoying his success.
Yeah, stepping back, pursuing other passions. It's interesting. They're both incredibly ambitious, driven.
But their definitions of success
Might be very different.
exactly. And this begs the question for all of us.
Yeah.
What truly drives you? What
Yeah.
motivates you?
Big question to ponder.
It is.
But before we get too philosophical, let's talk about Elon's legacy.
Okay.
Because it's about more than just rockets, electric cars.
And social media.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like he almost single-handedly forced the world to rethink what's possible.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating
Mm-hmm.
is how he builds these teams
Right.
to actually pull it off.
You know, one thing that really struck me in the book
Yeah.
is how much Musk focuses on attitude when he's hiring.
Okay.
Almost like skills and knowledge are secondary.
Really?
He's looking for that raw potential, that hunger.
Like he's saying,
Give me someone with the right mindset,
yeah.
and I can teach them anything.
But how do you even screen for that?
He calls it the brain transplant problem.
Okay.
He believes you can't just transplant someone's skills.
Got to have the whole package.
You need the whole package. The drive, the resilience, the willingness to push.
So in the early days of SpaceX,
Yeah.
Tesla,
Musk personally interviewed every single hire
wow, talk about hands-on.
to make sure they had that all-in mentality,
I could see how that would be crucial back then.
especially when they were facing so much doubt.
Yeah, like everyone thought they were crazy.
Exactly. He needed a team that not only believed in the mission, but were willing to put in the insane hours.
Right, make the sacrifices.
But it does raise questions about scalability. As these companies grow, can that level of personal involvement continue?
Right, that's a good point. Like there's this tension
Yeah.
between that intense early-stage dedication
Mm-hmm.
and the realities of, managing a huge global workforce.
Exactly. And this focus on attitude shapes Musk's views on company culture, too.
In what way?
He doesn't buy into psychological safety.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
He prefers urgent intensity.
Okay, but what does that actually look like?
Think constant pushing boundaries,
Okay.
challenging assumptions,
Never settling,
never settling for good enough,
long hours,
long hours, taking risks,
constant iteration.
constantly iterating, yeah. It's not about being comfortable or cozy.
It's about that feeling of urgency.
It's about urgency, like you're on a mission to save the world.
Which, in a way,
They kind of are.
SpaceX, it's literally about making humanity multiplanetary.
Right.
Tesla, it's about sustainable energy.
Exactly. But this clash of cultures, it's really evident in the Twitter takeover. Here's a company that, before Musk, prided itself on progressive values.
Employee-friendly policies.
Right. Creating a psychologically safe workplace.
And then Elon comes in,
Flips the script.
unbelievable.
Declares that psychological safety is the enemy.
Wow.
Wants a smaller, more intense team
Yeah.
working around the clock to achieve his vision.
I remember reading about those early days after the takeover.
Okay.
Total chaos, like a pressure cooker about to explode.
And the results, they were predictable.
Yeah.
Some employees thrived,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of them burned out or left.
Right. Isaacson does a good job of showing the human cost,
Yeah, of that relentless drive.
the uncompromising approach.
It's a side of the story we don't often hear.
Right. We focus on the success.
The innovations.
But there are real people behind all that.
And they often pay a price.
It's interesting because Isaacson, having spent so much time with Musk and Steve Jobs,
Oh, yeah.
he sees some similarities in their leadership.
Both demand and
Visionary, but difficult.
notoriously different.
Both seem to believe that being too focused on being liked
Yeah.
or creating a nice workplace
Or hinder their ability to achieve those big results.
Jobs told Isaacson that worrying about whether people loved you.
Was vanity?
Yeah.
Could weaken a leader?
And Musk seems to agree.
Yeah, saying empathy and collegiality can be enemies of progress.
Especially in that fast-paced, high-stakes environment.
Right.
So the question is
there room for compassion
empathy.
in this kind of leadership?
Can you be ruthlessly effective and humane?
It's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And Isaacson doesn't really give easy answers.
But it makes you think.
It does. It forces us to grapple with these questions.
Okay, so we've talked about the hiring, the culture, but how does Isaacson ultimately assess Musk's impact?
Right.
What's his legacy going to be? It's easy to focus on all the big stuff.
The rockets, the cars.
Yeah, but Isaacson's book,
It really goes deep.
Into the Man Himself.
Right.
And one thing that really stood out to me was how much his childhood
seems to have shaped his relationships.
There's this recurring theme of loneliness.
almost like a fear of it,
Yeah.
that Isaacson traces back to his upbringing,
He craves connection,
Yeah.
constantly seeks companionship,
whether it's romantic partners.
or that close bond with his kids.
It's like he's trying to fill this void.
But then at the same time,
There's this pattern
of drama, intensity,
in his relationships.
almost like he's recreating the turmoil of his childhood.
So do you think it's even possible
Hmm.
for someone like that?
To find real peace.
Stability in a relationship?
Well, there have been moments of calm.
Yeah.
His marriage to Tallulah Riley,
The actress.
right? That seemed to offer some stability.
But even that ended.
Yeah, Riley even said
I remember reading that.
that she admired his ambition,
No.
but she craved a more peaceful life.
Less chaotic.
Yeah.
It goes back to this fundamental question.
The one that Isaacson keeps asking.
Can Elon Musk ever truly be happy?
Or is he just always chasing the next impossible dream?
Never satisfied.
Yeah, Isaacson tells this story
Well,
where Musk compares himself to a video game addict,
I remember that.
always focused on the next level.
Never savoring the wins.
Right, it's like he's wired differently.
Programmed for achievement, not contentment.
Isaacson contrasts this with Bezos,
Interesting.
who seems much more comfortable enjoying the fruits of his labor,
Yeah, like stepping back.
pursuing other things,
It's wild because they're both these titans,
driven by incredible ambition,
but their definitions of success
and ultimately happiness.
might be completely different.
Exactly. And it raises a question for all of us.
Yeah,
What's the ultimate measure of a life well lived?
good question.
Is it about achieving those huge goals?
Leaving your mark on the world.
Or is it about finding peace, contentment,
Connection.
meaningful connections?
Elon Musk's story really makes you confront that.
And even though there are no easy answers,
Just asking the questions.
can be so valuable.
It makes you examine your own
It's
value,
your motivation
the trade-offs you're willing to make.
in pursuit of your own definition of success.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive on Elon Musk,
Yeah.
I think the takeaway isn't about copying him.
Right, or using his extreme methods.
It's about using his story as a mirror
for self-reflection.
to question our assumptions about success, leadership.
And what it means to live a fulfilling life.
It's about finding your own mission
Even if it's not Mars-sized.
and defining what you're willing to sacrifice to achieve it.
And maybe, just maybe,
Yeah,
finding a little bit of that happiness.
that even Elon is searching for.
It's out there.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a good one.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning
And keep pushing the boundaries.
of what's possible.